Good day to you, my grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. My name is Bernard Donko. This lesson is brought to you by the Northern Cape Department of Education in collaboration with Pagama Research and Development. So, as we did in part 1 of our revision of paper 2, where we focused on maps and plans, in this video, we are going to focus on part 2, and our whole focus will be on measurement. So at the end of the whole lesson for part 1 and 2, the hope is that you will be able to answer questions that are given to you in paper 2. And the questions are coming from maps and plans, probability, and measurements. Now, for you to be able to answer those questions very well, it means that your ideas, your whole knowledge about measurements, maps and plans, and probability have to be spot on. You have to get yourself ready. And I know most of you can even do way better in paper 2 compared to paper 1. It depends on your strength, but I believe in you. And I feel that with all the revision that we have done, you are going to do absolutely wonderful. So hang around and let's continue then. Now let's look at some few baseline questions. I have got some values or some formulas on column A. And then on column B, we have got our terms. So what I need from you now is to assist me. Let's try to identify them so that we can be able to refresh our memories. Remember, we are revising. We are now heading towards the final exam. Once you write paper 2 for us here, it means you are done with maths lit in terms of grade 12. So the first one, when you see pi r squared, where do we use pi r squared? Look through from A up to H. Where do we use pi r squared? That's when we are finding the area of a circle. So our answer is B. Okay? If you don't know from step to step, you can go through and check the ones that you know. As you go, you are eliminating, and in the end, you are going to come back to your whole question, having answered everything. So let's talk of the next one then. When you see 2 into bracket L plus B, it means we are talking of what? The perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle. So our answer is E. When you see 4 times the side, the minute the examiner says 4 times the side, it means the shape is a square. So this side plus this side plus this side plus this side will give you the perimeter. So we are talking of the perimeter of a square. So which means that our answer here should be D. How about the next one? Whenever they say the total area of all the sides, total area, it means we are talking of what? Surface area. So in our case here, number 4, our answer is C. What do you think will be for number 5? Can you see we have length times width times height? It means we are looking for volume. It's a 3D object, isn't it? But since it has got length, width, and height, what kind of volume? Is it volume of a rectangle or volume of a circle or a cylinder? What are we talking about here? So we are talking of volume of a rectangular prism. So here our answer is H. Let's talk of the total distance around a circular object. When you move around a circular object, we are talking of what? The circumference. So it means our answer here is our A. I hope you are getting them correct, because I know you are revising about things that we've learned and you are going to do very well even in the examination. Now, let's talk of the next one. It says the amount of space that is enclosed within a container. The amount of space in a container, we are talking of what? The volume of a cylinder. And then whenever we are talking of, so let's put this one for the definition here. So the volume here, that's the amount of space enclosed, that is our G. And then when you see volume, we are talking of pi r squared H. It means we are looking for the volume of a cylinder. When you want to find the volume of a cylinder, the formula that you use is what? pi times r squared times height. So now that you have been able to allocate the meanings or the formulas to each of the terms, let us get into how the paper then will look like. Remember, for paper 2, we are going to have the topics of measurement, maps and plans, and probability. And if you can look closely, measurement takes about 83 plus minus of the marks of the whole 150. So it has a lot. Maps and plans take about 60 plus minus, and then the rest will be for probability. And all of that, we are expected to write it in a time of 3 hours. So do not forget about that. That is why we are doing the revision, so that you can get your whole mindset ready. So now, where will the questions come? Those plus minus 83 marks, where are they going to be getting them from? They will be getting them from for you to convert. There will be a lot of questions which will involve conversion. So be prepared for that. Then measuring instruments and tools, temperature, we are going to be asking you questions about that. Finding the perimeter of various shapes that you'll be given, being able to work with growth charts and BMI. So if we don't find it in paper 1, we can also find it in paper 2. Then we're talking of area of shapes, whether the shape is a rectangle, a circle, semicircle, quarter circle, and so on. Then there will be questions on surface area as well as volume. So these are the subtopics that will make up the questions under measurement. Therefore, it is imperative that you know them. We did in part 1 already about maps and plans. So our focus for today's lesson will be on measurement. And by the end of the lesson, how do you get to know whether you have covered all the areas, all the spots that are saying you are done with measurement? This is your checklist. When you are able to convert units of measurement from imperial to metric, when you are able to estimate, measure, calculate length, volume, and surface area, calculate capacity, then you know you understand measurement. When you are able to adjust solutions of measurements in terms of rounding them up or down, then you know you are doing very well. Okay. Then when we come to the whole topic, you should be able to express measurement values and quantities in units that are appropriate. Okay. If you are finding volume is a 3D object. Therefore, the unit should be in whether it's millimeters cubed or centimeters cubed and so on. The unit should be to the power of 3 because there are 3 units. If you have an area is length times width, meaning we are talking of 2D. Therefore, the unit should be to the power of 2. You should be able to measure quantities and complete tasks. Now, how do you do this whole things of calculations and make sure you get all the marks? Remember, I said to you, in your subtopics, there will be a lot of situations where you have to learn to convert. There's going to be a lot of questions that will require you to convert. And therefore, for you to convert, whenever you are moving from something small to something big, you divide. And then when you are moving from something big to something small, you multiply. So how do we ensure that you do not forget during the exam? The moment you get your question paper, I want you, once they say you can start writing, write your King Henry died miserable death called measles. If you don't want to write it this way, then just write K M C M M M. In between this, you should have 6 zeros. How do they go? From K to M is 1000, meaning either you are multiplying or dividing. You multiply when you are moving from big, meaning we are from your left to your right. You divide when you are moving from small or right to left. Between M and CM, we must have 2 zeros, which is 100. And then between CM and MM, we have 10. Please write this on the paper. Why? Because maybe you are around question 3 or 4, thereabout, and you have to convert. Then you forget. You are starting to panic. I don't want you to panic. I want you to relax. So once you start, before you can even answer the questions, draw this. It will help you, my learners. It will. Something like DST. Draw it as a triangle and make it the way I have done. The D for distance, T for time, S for speed. You see, in the examination, the examiner is not always going to say distance is speed times time. You find that they want you to find time, but they will say distance equals speed times time. So it means they want you to be the one to rearrange the formula and ensure that you can use it to respond to the question that they are giving to you. It is very vital that you do not panic. Please do not panic. Just take a breath and look at the question and try to respond the way we have been watching these videos and what teachers have been teaching you, or those ones that you have been learning on your own, because we believe that you have learned enough and you are going to do very well. Therefore, do not entertain panic. Okay, you will be fine. Just make sure you draw these ones so that when it is time for converting, you're fine. The same K, like here you can have kilogram. Here is gram. There's no centigram for metalate. We are talking of what? Milligram. So because we have skipped between the M and the cm, it means here is going to be also 1,000 and 1,000. The same way we'll go for kiloliters, liters, milliliters. So let us look at some few possible exam questions then. If we look on our side here, we have got different sizes of Coke cans and bottles. And then the first question says, the image below displays various Coke bottles and cans along with capacity of each container shown in liters. But look at very vital information. Note, 1 cup equals 250 milliliters. Question 1.1. Convert 0.33 liters to milliliters. So you see the importance of writing what I was showing you in the previous slide. You have to write them down because you are going to forget. So when you have such questions like this, you will write your kiloliters because you're talking of liters. Then you have liters and then milliliters. So in here is 1,000, meaning if, let me write it here so you can see it very well. Kiloliters, liters, milliliters. So in between here is 1,000. Here is also 1,000. When you're moving from left to right, we multiply. When you're moving from right to left, we divide. So look at it. They're saying you must move from where? Liters, you are going to milliliters. So it means you are here, you are going to your right side. Ne? From liters to milliliters. So it means you are going to multiply. Multiply what by what value? 1,000. So when you have this conversion factor there, it makes life a little bit easier for you. Let's look at the next question then. Determine the number of 250 milliliter cups of Coke that is contained in what? 1.5 liter. So can you see here the unit is saying milliliters. Let me write it here again. Kiloliters, liters, milliliters. In between here, what is the value? 1,000. Good. Here, what is the value? Also 1,000. Remember again, going from left to right, we multiply. From right to left, we divide. So how do we work with this one? The first thing you have to do is to ensure that the units are the same. Do you see that the examiner wanted the answer to be in milliliters, but then they gave you the question in liters, which means you have to convert from liters to become milliliters, meaning move it from here to milliliters. So you are going to do that so that we see. 1.3. Determine the radius of the 2-liter bottle. This 2-liter bottle, what is the radius? It means that they gave you what you call a diameter. Now the question is, what's radius? How will you explain it to somebody who doesn't know? Good. Radius is the line that moves from the center of the bottle to any part of the circumference. So basically radius is half of a diameter. Diameter is the line that divides the circle into two equal parts. It divides the circle into what? Two equal parts. So we are saying determine the radius of the 2-liter bottle with a diameter that is 11 centimeters. So what would be half of 11? You need to work that out. Let's look at 1.4 then. Choose A, B, or C. The most correct formula below that can be used to calculate the volume of Coke in a can. Remember the baseline. You see, we had a lot of formulas there and you had to match them. These are where they come in handy. So we have given you the formula for A, B, and C. You have to select the formula that you think will be the correct formula to use in terms of finding what? The volume. Which one was the correct formula? Then you have to find out there. All right. Then now let's reveal our answers. So we are changing it from milliliters, liters to milliliters means we have to multiply. So this is going to be what? Milliliters. Number of cups. The first thing you had to do was to convert the 1,5 from liters to milliliters, meaning you have to multiply. So then once you get your answer, you divide by 250. Another way of doing that was to say 1,5 times 1,000. Then you take your calculator and press 1,5 times 1,000. So that will give you 1,500 milliliters. They are saying pour it into 250 milliliter cups. So it means you are going to divide by 250. So you just say divide by 250 and that will give you 6 cups. Does that make sense to you? Okay. Because we are finding radius, it means we divide the diameter by 2. That is why we are having the answer as 5,5. Then there were 3 formulas that was given to us. We were supposed to choose the formula that was correct in terms of finding the volume. So volume, let's go back. It is what? Pi r squared h. This is not correct because there's no r squared. And then 2 pi h. I don't even know which one is that. It's very much incorrect. We have 2 pi r. Okay, so you eliminate this one, it's not correct. The last one is correct. It means our correct answer is what? Pi r squared h. That's why you see the answer as B. Let's go on with some more questions then. 2.1. Determine the diameter of each tank. Okay, so now let's talk. The tank, 30 centimeters on all sides of both tanks. We are talking of the floor which they are standing. Then volume of each tank is 10,000 liters. The radius is 1,150 millimeters. So which of the values that we have been given here can help us to find their diameter? Remember the previous questions that we did. We were given diameter, we were supposed to find radius. This time, they are giving us the radius, we have to find diameter. So what will you do with the value that you have been given? That's what I'm asking. 2.2a, calculate in centimeters the length of the concrete slab. In centimeters, the length of the concrete slab. So you can see here, from this point to that point is 30. In between here is 30. That side is 30 before you come to the diameter of the 2 tanks. So now you have to try and imagine, visualize it so that you can be able to respond to this question. So basically we want the line from here to there. How long do you think it is? And I know already you are figuring it out. You will get it correct. B, determine in centimeters squared the area of the concrete slab. So you have to be able to find the length here and the length here so that you can be able to multiply. 2.3, show that the volume of the concrete slab is 2.3925 meters cubed. You see that. If the thickness is 150 millimeters. So some of the questions demand that you reason, you think a little bit more, put in a little bit of effort, because we want you not to just only score the easy pickings, but be able to respond to challenging ones also. So let's start. To find the diameter, we are going to multiply the radius by 2. It means that our diameter is 2,300 millimeters. Then The next one for us to do is to convert it from the centimeters, the millimeters to centimeters. We are from small to big. So we are going to divide by 10, meaning that the diameter is 230 centimeters. Now, remember there are two containers. So 230, 230. Ne? Then in between here, do you see that arrow? Let me go back. Do you see the arrow here? It's 30 on here, 30 in the middle, 30 on the other side. So we are going to have how many 30s? 3 of them. That's why you see me multiplying by 30 here. So 2 of the cylinders will give me 230 times 2. Then 30s times 3, we put all together, we are going to get the line. The length is going to be 550. But now let's look at the width also. We are going to then have, there is only, let me go back. I want you to look at something quickly. If you look here, we have got only 1 drum. So don't forget, ne? Just that there is a 30 here and a 30 that side. So if you can see, the one cylinder is 230, ne? And then 30 on both sides will give us 60. So we put all together, that will give us what? 290 centimeters. So if that is the case, then the area is going to be our answer of 550 multiplied by 290, meaning we are going to get 159,500 centimeters squared. That is how you respond to that question. Now, we are asked to show that the answer is 2,3925. The length 550, the width 290. Remember they are in centimeters, and our answer is in meters cubed, meaning we should change all the answers to become meters. That's why you see we are changing from centimeters to meters. So remember you have your kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. Here is 1,000, 100 here, and 10. So to change from centimeters to meters, meaning we are moving backwards. Therefore, we are going to divide by 1,000. So 550 will give us 5.5. 290 will give us 2.9. The height is already giving us 150. So it becomes what? 0.15. Because this one is in millimeters. So we are moving from where? Millimeters way to meters. So we have got 3 zeros. So we are dividing by 1,000. That's how you get 0.15. So now that we have got all our answers in the same unit, what we do is to find volume. Volume is what? Length times width times height. Do you remember the baseline questions? The formulas that I was giving to you? Good. Now we are applying them here. So then when you multiply these 3, you are going to get the answer. Imagine if they have given you 4 or 5 marks for this work. Once you're able to answer it, you feel very, very comfortable. Let's look at another one then. Alongside is a picture of a tennis table with the measurements. Take note, the net stretches 0.15 meters beyond the table's width on both sides. So the first question is, calculate in meters. Remember what I've been telling you. We are going to be asked to convert a lot. We are going to be asked to calculate. That's how we are going to get the marks. Ne? Calculate in meters the perimeter of the table tennis table. You may use the formula perimeter is 2 into bracket L plus W. Good. Let's go to 3.2. Determine the total length of the net, meaning from one corner way to the other corner. Remember, it stretches 0.15 before the width of the table. 3.3. Write down the ratio of the height of the table tennis table, the height, to the height of the net. And once you write, give your answer in the format 1:... How are we going to write this one? I just wish that you're going to get them correct because I know you know these answers. Yours is to show me how you do it. In case you struggle, we'll work together on that. 3.4. The height of the table tennis table must be reduced by 100 millimeters. It must be reduced, meaning it might be brought down a little bit. For boys, that are aged 7 to 8 years to be able to play the table tennis. Calculate the new table height in meters. So you see, they have given you a value which is in millimeters and they want the answers in meters. So it demands that we pause, look at the question and respond appropriately. But I believe that you will be able to get them correct. Let's go to 3.5 then. The table below shows the number of boys and girls from one school who are participating in the table tennis competition. So grade 9A, the boys are 4, 9B, boys are 5, 9C, boys are 3. Then the girls from 9A are 3, 9B are 2, and then 9C are 4. Question 3.5.1. Calculate how many more boys players than girl players participated in the competition. So what you need to do first, find out all the boys, find out all the girls, then you can subtract so that you know how many more boys are there than the girls. Do not forget that. 3.5.2. Determine the probability. Remember, our topic for paper 2 is measurement, maps, semblance, and probability. So here are some few questions. Determine the probability as a decimal number of randomly selecting a grade 9B girl who participated in the competition. How are we going to answer these questions? Let's start with the first one. To find the perimeter, they gave us the formula. So our solution will be perimeter is 2 into bracket length plus width. Our length is 1.525 plus the width of 2.74. Remember, they gave us the diagram. So I'm taking the measurements from the diagram. In the examination, next to your question, you will see the entire diagram, so it becomes easier for you to work with that. So our perimeter is what? 8.5 meters. Then we are supposed to find the length, the entire length. So remember again, it stretches 0.153 meters. So 2, where am I having 2? On the left, 0.153. On the right side, 0.153. So there are 2 of them. Don't forget. Then the width of itself is what? 1.525. So when we put all together, the entire length is what? 1.831. How about the ratio? They said write the ratio. So the ratio, you write the first value that is mentioned is to the second value that is also mentioned. How did I get 1? I want somebody to figure out. Good. I divided this also by 0.76. Divided both sides by 0.76 so that the left side is 1. Remember, the examiner says write it in the format 1:2, meaning on our left side, they want the first value to be 1. So the only way we can get that is to divide the value by itself. Okay, let's go to 3.4 then. We were given 0.76 meters, so we are changing it to 760 millimeters. How are we doing that? I'm not just doing it from the head. I am still going to kilometers, meters, centimeters, and millimeters. What are the values in between? 1,000, 110. When we are moving from right to left, we divide. When we are going from left to right, we multiply. Do not forget that. So then the height of the table tennis was 0.76 meters. So we change it to become 760. Why? Because they said to us that table must be dropped, must be reduced by 100 millimeters. Meaning our answers have to be in millimeters. That's why I'm changing to 760 millimeters. Then I drop it, meaning I must reduce the 760 by 100. It means that the new height has to be 660 millimeters. Now that you have the answer, then you can go back and convert it from millimeters to centimeters. So the first thing you have to do is try to get your answer in millimeters so that it can allow you to subtract. If you didn't want to convert it from 0.76 meters, then what you needed to do is to convert the 100 millimeters to become meters. Meaning you will say 100 millimeters divided by 1,000 so that you get 0.1. Then from there, you will be saying 0.76 minus 0.1. So you're going to get 0.66 or 0.6 or 0.67. Now, they were asking us to find out how many more boys than girls were there. So we had to put a total. The boys are 12. You add from 9A, 9B, 9C. Then you add all the girls, they are 9. So how many more boys? What we do now, we say 12 minus 9. It means there are 3 more boy players. I hope you understand how to respond to that question. Then there was a question of the probability of picking a learner who is a girl from 9B who plays table tennis. So how many girls from 9B? There are 2 of them. Divide by all the learners who are there. Then we have 21 of them. It doesn't end there. The examiner says leave your answer as a decimal. So you press 2, divide by 21. In most cases, they are going to give you 1 mark for numerator, 1 mark for the denominator. Then you write your answer as a decimal, you get another mark. So you see, when you take a bit of time and you read carefully, you are going to be able to answer all the questions comfortably. So because I believe in you and I think you are going to do very well. It is time for you to believe in yourself and know that you are ready for the exam. Let's look at number 4. The image below shows a 32 oz, or sometimes we call it ounces, 32 oz water bottle alongside the box it is sold in. The bottle is filled with water only up to the neck, somewhere here, only up to the neck and not all the way to the top. Take note, 1 oz, which is 1 ounce, is the same as 0.03 liters. Whenever you have 1,000 centimeters cubed, it's equal to 1 liter. So you see that in the exam, the examiner will give you something like this because they need you to convert. They want you to be able to convert correctly. So question 4.1, calculate the diameter of the water bottle. The diameter, calculate it. This is 32 ounce water bottle. Don't forget. Then the examiner gave us a formula. It says volume is pi r squared h. How do we do that? I hope you're going to get it correct with this one. 4.2. Determine the dimensions of the box if the width of the box is 2 centimeters more than the diameter of the bottle. And the height, please look as you read, underline. The diameter, the width is what? 2 centimeters more than the diameter. And the height is also 2 centimeters more than the total height of the bottle. So you have to be able to work it out. This is not complicated. I think you are going to get it correct. Number 4.3. Determine the surface area of the box in meters squared. Do you see any dimensions here? Nothing. But if you go back, there is clues given to us all along. So let's see how we are going to respond to this question. Let's go to the first one. Our first one says, calculate the diameter. So let's get to the diameter then. So the diameter, we are talking of number of liters here. We have 32 ounces. Okay. So we are going to multiply it by the conversion factor. That will give us 0.96 liters. Then from there, we are now going to convert from the liters. So you understand that there is a lot of conversions. We are going to get a lot of marks as long as you take your time and you write it correctly. Now that you have your answer, we are going to convert it from liters to centimeters cubed, not from the head. The examiner gave to us to say every 1,000 is the same as 1 liter. So then we are going to multiply the 0.96 by 1,000. So it means that 0.96 liters is the same as now 960. So now we have got the volume of the bottle. The volume of our bottle is what? 960 centimeters cubed. We are going to substitute into the formula so that we can find what we don't know. So if we have volume, remember the volume is V is equal to pi r squared h. We know the volume, which is 960. Pi is equal to 3.142. R squared, we are going to need it because we need the diameter, times height, which is 19. Then that's why you see me continue from here. So what I'm doing is I'm removing all the 3.142 and the 19. Bring them down here to come and divide. So that's what you see, 960 divided by 3.142 times 90, so that r squared will stand alone because we need it. So now, when you divide, you're going to get 16.08. But remember, r squared is what? R squared. We want r so that we can multiply by 2 to get our diameter. So to find r, we are going to say square root of 16.08. Then we are going to get 4.1, meaning the radius is 4.1. Therefore, the diameter is going to be 4.01 times 2. It means the diameter of the bottle is 8.02. Do you see this one is nice and challenging? It gives us the chance of being able to think and think again. Given the information that we have been supplied, how do we use it? That is what is going to separate you from the rest of your classmates, because you are going to understand such questions and apply them correctly. Now let's look at it here. The width is 8.02 because that's our diameter. But remember they said it is 2 centimeters more because we want to get the measurements of the box. So 8.02 plus 2, that will give us 10.02. The height, we know it is 19 now. So what do we do? Plus the 3. Remember they did not fill it completely. So that small extra gap is 3 plus the 2. So the total height is now 24. That means now we go to the surface area. Then the examiner will give you the formula. The surface area will be 2 into bracket L times B plus 2 into bracket L times H, then plus 2 into bracket B times H. Okay, then this formula, what do we do? Once you find the formula in the question and you have all your values, yours is just to substitute. Even if you are writing and you don't include the centimeters, it's fine. You would get it at the end. So you multiply all of them, you're going to get 1162.72 centimeters squared. Now that you have centimeters squared, we are going to convert it to meters. Remember, from kilometers, meters, centimeters, millimeters. Meaning, for you to have centimeters squared to millimeters to meters squared, remember from centimeters to meters, you divide by 100. So now centimeters squared to meters squared, it means you're going to divide by 100 squared, just like the way they are showing you. If it is squared, you're going to divide also by squared. If there was no squared, you are not going to divide by that. That's why you see me having 1162.7 to divide by what? 100 squared, not just 100, because we have got squared now. Can you see the unit there? So our answer becomes 0.12. That is how you respond to that question. So if you look at the work we have done so far, you will realize that there are questions that are challenging. There are questions that demand that you think a little bit more. And then there are questions that are a little bit easier. Why am I giving you the various kinds of questions? Because I know throughout the question, we are going to be able to answer questions that are going to give us a lot of marks. Now, let us summarize them. For this lesson, our whole focus was on what? Measurement. What are the key things that you have studied today? There's going to be a lot of conversions. It doesn't matter what subtopic they're dealing with, but there will be a variety of questions on conversions. For you to do well in the measurement, remember, my learners, remember that conversions is going to play a very, very huge role. Think about it. You have been working from January up to this point. This is not the time for you to drop. This is not the time for you to give up. You believe in yourself that you are going to do it. So for that to happen in terms of performance, it means your whole knowledge of measurement, how to convert, how to find area, how to find volume, how to find surface area, they will come in extremely handy. And then from there, you must know how to substitute. My learners, know how to do what? Substitute very well, because when you know how to substitute, just the substituting itself even gives you some marks also. All right. So also do not forget, there will be questions on probability. So when you feel that you don't know, I think now is the time where you ask your teachers, request your friends, your classmates to explain things to you so that you will be able to respond correctly. I'm now leaving you with some homework, and I expect you to go and do them. Let's look at the first part. It says the average pumping rate of a borehole is 0.74 liters per second. An average household uses a maximum of 300 gallons in a day of 24 hours. Note, so here will be given to us in the question. There's going to be a lot of conversions. You go and attempt this once, and I've also attached the marking guideline to that. So once we're able to do this, we go back to our finance and start working on that. Learners, thank you so much for staying with me up to this point. I hope with all these revisions, you are ready to go and write the paper too with all the confidence that is there. I'm wishing you the best of luck, and I know you're going to do well. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.